friends have made videos that were mocking me. I did not appreciate that. But I did see as well, you were mocking me from being of average height. I can't control that. I can't control my genetics. That wasn't very, you were mocking me. I did not appreciate that.
Asking my followers if I should wear heels tonight, and I did not.
I never mocked on her appearance, and there's plenty of subject matter there, believe me, but I never did it. So I didn't appreciate.
Sometimes when you watch woke people yap on the internet or watch a Just Stop Oil puppet act like a possessed Pinocchio, you just wish for a Batman to shut them up. Well, you're in luck. These are times when Batman flew in and humbled some wokies. You can just like this video right now, you already know it's going to be good. Don't forget to leave a Batman comment at the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything. Okay, let's get into it.
Under 18, you should be able to transition, or do you think that's a 18 and up decision?
I think that is a decision between a child, their parents, and their doctors.
Okay, so under 18 if it's approved by the doctor and the mother?
The parent.
Okay, the parent. Well, what do you think about kids slapping back a Corona?
Thank you.
I mean, if they can chop the should also be able.
No, don't walk away. See how she got irked by the term mother? Absolutely ridiculous.
You're also saying, like, as you get older, like, your goals have shifted a little bit, right? If I'm understanding correctly.
Well, it's because I fell for the mind virus of, like, be a boss babe, focus on a career, make money. And I do think it's a mind virus. And that's what I was taught in school and college. And now I'm in my 30s. When I was 20s, there wasn't content telling, like, women, oh, this, like, being in your feminine energy, this is what's going to make you happy. The only thing that was available was, like, go be independent and make money. And I tried that. And I thought that's what was going to make me happy. Now in my 30s, I'm like, oh wait, I'm like 30, I want to have kids, and my biological clock is ticking.
Okay, technically, yeah. You could also call that your third stage of life, because, like, through their 20s, like, yeah, you really want to work towards those things, and then as you get older, like, yeah. I guess what I'm saying is, like,
but it's not fulfilling as a woman. Like, focusing on career and money, it's not going to be fulfilling at the end of the day.
So the girl in the denim jacket was standing on business about her boss babe, men hating feminism. Then one of the people in the chat wrote her a little love note.
So does the wage gap exist?
I just think you're brainwashed. Something.
You think I'm brainwashed?
I think that there is a lot of expectations for women to behave a certain way.
Are there not expectations for men to behave a certain way too?
Yes, there are.
I would almost argue it's easier to start a business in America as a woman. You have preferential treatment when it comes to loans, preferential hiring processes. Literally just because you're a woman, women are the majority of college graduates. Life being a woman, I feel like in some ways kind of life on easy mode if you play into the corporate structure. They literally have empowerment programs that they don't allow men, let alone straight white men in. There's literally a multi-billion-dollar corporate push to empower women. You know, you think I'm brainwashed, you can think that, but you also espouse an ideology that you can't even give me literally one example why you actually believe it, let alone define it, but you just slap that label on because that's what mainstream society has told you to believe. So I think you're actually the one who's brainwashed.
Okay, what to do? Anyway, let's hope she doesn't just cry, but reflects.
So at what point is it not a parasite and then it turns into a baby? I guess, like I said, that kind of varies for every person. Well, for you, what is it for you? I really don't know. You won't say when a baby becomes a baby and stops being a parasite in your own words? I guess you'd have to prove a certain level of consciousness, maybe, I don't know. A heartbeat? Things can be alive without a heartbeat, but also it doesn't just have to do with life, so don't take that out of there. But I don't know.
Isn't that just sad? Ma'am, put the sign down and go sit in a library for 5 minutes. You are embarrassing yourself.
He wants to deal with. So we have.
Is he bisexual or he's straight?
No, he's not bisexual. Oh. Baby, I like a real man. Okay. All right, a real man.
I would say that a real man wouldn't allow his woman, not even allow, wouldn't get into a serious relationship with the woman that is open on her end and other men are smashing her. He's not secure in his position in a relationship to set boundaries and say, hey, I don't want you talking to other women and other men. So therefore, he is insecure, and it is an ego. He lacks ego. He lacks confidence.
No. Well, so when you speak of a real man, you're speaking of my father. That's a real man.
So why don't you date a man like your father?
Oh, I'm looking for a man like my daddy. I'm looking for like a man like my daddy. Listen,
Time out.
a man doesn't,
Stop,
because
rewind.
what
Let's
you
bring it back.
convert and who you claim to be makes
Real
you
quick.
a real man. A real man is what you stand by and what you live by every
Got it.
single
Real
day.
quick, real quick.
My father is a man that wakes up and he's peaceful. He prays for me. He sends me good energy.
I got it, Nay.
She was talking about being in a hollow cylinder relationship. This means that the relationship was only open on one end, and in this case, it's hers. That's not the craziest part. Her father is apparently a real man, and that's who she's looking for. So her boyfriend isn't that already?
It's very simple, Nay. If you're not going to,
so we gonna sit here and we gonna debate all day, baby. I'm a boy.
Fair enough,
Baby, I
that's
love
what you think.
You gonna love me too.
Yeah, these are the rules of the podcast, and all the girls heard.
So only the host could speak
Time
when
out.
everyone else
Listen,
is talking.
you still speak. Time out. You still speaking while I'm speaking.
I am.
Got it. Slow it down. Right? You just admitted that.
Don't invite nobody on your podcast.
You just admitted that your man ain't that man. That your father is that man.
No, he is that man.
No, he ain't. Your man isn't that man. You just admitted that.
I don't have to cheat with him. I feel sorry for whoever you date because, baby, I could never be trapped in the box.
We actually gonna end this. You up out of here. It's time for you to go.
I ain't going nowhere. And I let him talk. The whole time he spoke. But we know his podcast.
It is what it is. Nah, I'm good, mama. I'm good, mama. Don't touch me, mama. I'm good, mama. Don't touch me.
See, now she's embarrassed about being kicked out. If you have something to say, do that. But trying so hard to score points is just sad.
If you're an OnlyFans model and you're doing all kinds of horny, girly shit on OnlyFans, and then you expect your dude to respect you and not follow other women, you're delusional. Bitch, you are undressing in front of a bunch of men all over the world. How dare you have that even remotely double standard that your guy can't do what you're already doing? You can't be an OnlyFans model and then say you're a monogamist. There's just no way.
I mean, if you're not sleeping with anybody else and you're not meeting up with anybody else,
You're sharing your body and these personal things that should be only reserved for the person that you're with or married to. If you're married and you're an OnlyFans model and you're sharing your body on the internet and I can pay to see your vagina hole, you are not a monogamous woman. I'm sorry. You're showing your private parts to other people who are not your husband. Because when you take that vow, when you get married, you're vowing to be for that other person and only for that other person.
So these women claim to be monogamous adult content creators. Yeah, never heard a more moronic oxymoron.
Put your hands on me.
It's time to go.
I'm saying to you.
Boy, a physical. Kids stay in school stuff, Sam. It's okay. Just come out.
I'm prosecuting you. Cool. Don't. You can't make me go down those stairs. That's not your flat. You put your hands on me. I'm getting the police now.
How many times?
No, you're being prosecuted right now. Right now. You can't tell me what I'm doing. I want my stuff. What I'm doing. Alright.
It is so.
Listen, what? No, I'm calling the police. They can see this podcast. Yeah.
He's done nothing wrong. He's done what he's trying to do, what he's employed to do. She's not really coming back. If she comes back, obviously, you have the doors. So obviously you have the legal power to remove someone from the building.
Why do you people love getting kicked out of places? If you're not wanted, have some self-respect and dignity, and just leave while you still have class. You called the cops, and they are not even on your side. Must have stung.
I am not the same as a too.
Why? What's the distinction?
I'm not having sex with people.
Hang on, so let me get this right. If a dude goes up to a guy's room and she just dances naked for him and he off to it, she's not a too?
Yeah, that is a too.
Yeah, that's still here. So hang on. I'm never gonna let you evade, no matter how much you filibuster.
This is what happens when you ignore dictionaries and let people define terms based on how they feel. What do you call a person who gives out any form of sexual favors and gets paid for it?
So you're telling me that a woman has to go work like a man every day, and a man goes work and he's tired when he gets home. A woman's not tired. She has to clean, cook, do the dishes, do the laundry. Are you kidding me?
I have a better question.
The reason why that happened and the reason why that was going on back in the day is because a woman was not working. A woman was not going to work every day.
Okay, but my question is, why don't you want to do that?
What are you talking about? Why don't I want to do? You know
Why?
how fucking tiring that is? Have you done that?
First of
Have you
all,
done that?
I do it every day.
First of all, yeah.
For a
First of all,
for a man, a messy
Lazar,
ass man and children. Have you
First
done
of all,
that? I can't.
first of all, Lazar,
What?
yelling doesn't mean you're winning an argument. It's a sign of low intelligence.
Why was she so hyper with it? Calm down and say what you gotta say. If you don't want to do chores, cool. If another person doesn't mind it, let them leave. You're just exercising your vocal cords over something that isn't that deep.
Real quick, do y'all believe in women's intuition?
Hell yeah.
If you can feel that your man is cheating, why can't you tell when he's unhappy?
Give him the mic. Tell us why, ladies.
I mean, do you think that a 16-year-old can meaningfully consent to having their body parts removed? Do you? No?
We do not. Yeah, we ask the questions. It's not.
Yes, stumble and mumble. Of course you ask the questions because you have no logical answer to any questions. No, that's not we. How embarrassing.
What's your name?
Jacob.
Jacob. Let me ask you this. How do you think they would have large-scale, long-term studies about the effects of these drugs and these surgeries on children when we only started doing it to children at a large scale a few years ago? So how could that even exist?
Yeah, I think scale is probably one of the more prevalent challenges of these studies.
Okay, so we're already hearing that there are challenges in these studies.
Every study has challenges. Like any scientific truth, like all of the scientific truth that we take for granted today, they're built on methodologies that fundamentally have flaws. Like if you want to make a specific critique, you can do that. If you're talking about
I just did.
Well, if you're talking about sample size, there are very well demonstrated statistical results that you don't need 10,000 people to get like a statistically significant value.
Yes, you do. Here's
no, absolutely not. It's like a very basic statistical
Jacob.
fact.
Jacob.
A sample size greater than 1,000, that can that has very nice asymptotic properties. Like
Jacob, here's what I know. If you want to even begin to claim that a study has proven that castrating and sterilizing little boys helps them in the long run, then you would need to have a large sample size of children who've gone through these procedures, and we've checked back with them in adulthood to see how they're doing. Those studies do not exist. They can't exist because we weren't doing this to kids at anywhere near this scale even 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago. What that tells us, Jacob, is that the kids we have right now, they are the sample.
Actually,
okay, they are the experiment. We are experimenting on children right now.
Meet Jacob. Jacob is a scientific liberal. He believes that cutting off the body parts of children is a proven good thing that has always yielded good results. Those results, like the new genders, only exist in his head, of course.
Here's what I want to know. Are we able to just use common sense as well? And based on common sense, determine that it is certainly not a good idea to sterilize and castrate children and remove body parts from children before they are possibly old enough to consent to those procedures. Don't we know that just based on basic moral decency and common sense?
Sure, but you're trying to make causal statements about the impacts of medical interventions. You need to demonstrate that with science, and I'm not mentioning, and I'm not like making an ethos argument. Oh, like look at this organization. I'm saying that there are like very rigorous ways to substantiate your claims, and the people that are spending lots of time are doing that, and they come to conclusions that are very different from the ones that you say. I'm not making an appeal to ethos. Anybody can look at these studies and just see how they're done.
Right, and these are also studies being done by the people who it just so happens are profiting from the procedures that they say work, which is really interesting.
Do you think your professors are getting paid by like some?
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Do you think there's somebody like paying your professors for? I think you should.
How do you think it works, Jacob?
Because that's very unrealistic.
Do you think they're not being paid?
No.
They ain't doing this for free, I tell you that.
No. They're definitely being paid. But like, if there's some shady organization paying them, like, I'm sorry, that's sort of silly. Like, talk with your professors. That's like sort of silly.
Okay. Let me
How
just
can
ask.
you know anything? There's always some conspiracy.
I think you can know things without asking for permission sometimes from professors to say that you know them.
No, I'm just saying.
And one of those things that you can know is that it's never okay to castrate a child. I mean, I don't need... Jacob,
Thank you, Matt.
Okay.
Or you could look into thinking for yourself. Anyway, have a good day, Jacob.
What I'm saying is that gender can be fluid and it does not affect other people. It does not affect other people's lives.
I literally just showed you an example where it affects other people. Women who don't want to share those spaces. Now you're saying that those women's spaces should be defined by their biological sex at birth. Yes or no?
I don't know. What I'm saying.
So it literally affects other people.
What do you mean these insane ideologies do not affect anyone? There is a worldwide debate going on over it. There would be no privacy soon. Anyone can claim to be anything and we wouldn't have a say. Where did the women support women go? The early feminists would be turning in their grave right now.
You're really nice. But the cult got you.
The cult. You think people being told they can have a certain gender or a certain sexuality is a cult?
People thinking you can pretend to be something you're not and the whole world's going to go along with it, including the people, yes, it affects, is a cult. And you, I feel for you because you're stuck in the cult.
It means what? If a man wants to identify as a woman, he's allowed to. That's what I mean. Gender,
So what's a woman then?
It's someone who feels like they want to be a woman.
But a woman is not just a feeling.
Why does it need to have a cookie cutter definition?
Because if we're going to be sterilizing kids, we should be able to define what this term even means.
Can you see the history books now? What is a woman? The question that never got an answer. Ridiculous, but true.
There's evidence of people who were transgender in ancient Greece, Rome. Judaism is an example of a religion that acknowledges, I think, 6 or 7 genders.
I don't think that's quite true. And my evidence for that would be in the very first book of the Torah, in Genesis. One of the most prominent lines is that in the beginning, God created man, both male and female created he them.
It's not Judaism. I think what the original translation, I can't cite my source right now, okay? But from what I've learned going to different religious schools, they said that the original text said Adam and Eve as in one being.
Well, man. So in the earliest chapters of Genesis, you have the creation of man in Adam. And then Eve is created from Adam's rib, but she would be the other sex. What you're citing is this line that a lot of people who are pro-transgender will say, which is, actually in some Native American tribe that I can't quite name right now, I'm sure they believe in a third and a fourth and a fifth gender, but that just isn't true. That's been made up by white liberals.
You know the movie Mulan, Disney Mulan?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Mulan,
Yeah.
dresses as a man, right, goes to war. That's based off of true history.
Oh, yes, cross-dressing has occurred in
Not just
history.
cross-dressing, but people who
In
went...
Mulan, did the female character think she was a man?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hold, is she trying to use Mulan as a reference? The Bible? She has to be one of those girls who says, "Do you know that TikTok sound?" in every conversation.
You see, you're a really good singer, you're great, but I don't like the beard.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I don't care.
You don't care.
Yeah, I don't care at all.
How do you people find the time in the little 24 hours to mind everything in the world but their business? Is his hair growing on your face? No? Then shut it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and only ladies and gentlemen it is and shall always be. I am an 18-year-old high school student and wanted to take this time to bring to your attention the current issue with biological men claiming they are women entitled to use women's spaces. There was an incident within our district that occurred recently regarding a transgender woman who really is a biological man having an altercation with a young woman at MLK High School. This man is and has been using the women's restroom and locker room. Firstly, why are we affirming the mental confusion of this boy and putting the safety of women in jeopardy by allowing mentally confused men to use the women's spaces? Of course, any male who claims he is a woman will accept it, but what about the women? What about the true girls like myself who are female down to our DNA? Why don't we ever get a say in whether or not we are comfortable with this? The truth is, we aren't. The majority of us aren't, and yet nothing has been done to protect the safety of these women. So please do something about it. Thank you.
Okay, where is that lady that claimed this debacle doesn't affect anyone? Does she see news and content like this? Or does she only hit play when inaccuracies are involved?
Bigot is a very loaded term. And because it has real sting and applies to real people, there's an effort to try to pin it on people. See, like these guys are walking out, they're too lazy to debate with me. They're not going to. I mean, they aren't. They aren't. Because, I'll tell you why. Hold on. Look, I'm here. I'm here.
Now was the parade necessary? Or is there a crazy need to get attention? Parents, listen to your kids yap more. Maybe they won't need to do this.
Woman.
So who's the prize in a lesbian relationship? Both of them?
Both of them. Yeah, oh God. Both be the prize.
So then why aren't they both the prize in a heterosexual relationship?
Because men are I'm about to say men are down here and women are up here.
Yeah. Okay, so are women equal to men or are women superior to men?
For sure, superior. Superior.
Okay, so then why do women go around saying they want equality when they actually want superiority?
It's just for the look. So people just want to be like, oh, I'm gonna go look for this, but they're actually looking for money.
Why is it, do you know what the definition of chauvinism is? No. Chauvinism means one sex thinking they're superior to another. Why is it when men think they're superior, we call it chauvinism, but when women think they're superior, we call it feminism?
That's a great question.
The world would be a better place with less pretense and more brave honesty. You want more, not equal, just say that. You want competition, not cohabitation, just say that. That way we don't have to hear this anymore. It's getting old.
Members of the board, my name is Craig Schubert, I'm the mayor of this city. It has come to my attention that your educators are distributing essentially what is child pornography in the classroom. I've spoken to a judge this evening. He's already confirmed that. So I'm going to give you a simple choice. Either choose to resign from this Board of Education or you will be charged. Thank you.
And that's how you swoop in to save the day. This is what your ejected officials should act like. Take notes, y'all.
How many refugees has Poland taken?
0.
And you're proud of that?
If you're asking me about Muslim illegal immigration, none. Not even one will come to Poland. Not even one if it's illegal. We took over 2 million Ukrainians who are working, who are peaceful in Poland. We will not receive even one Muslim because this is what we promised.
And Jean-Claude Juncker, the Commission President, says that you're racist. You sound proud of the fact that you haven't taken any refugees.
Of course, because this is what our people are expecting from our government. That's number one. This is why our government was elected. But this is why Poland is so safe. This is the reason why we have not even one terrorist attack. Look at the streets in Poland, and we can be called populists, nationalists, racist. I don't care. I care about my family and about...
You would call the cops if some uninvited stranger comes into your home, no? Let's switch the question. If a homeless man breaks your lock and settles in your kitchen because he is hungry and homeless, would you let him? Systems are put in place to allow outcomes that can be managed. Don't be ridiculous. Liberals are always minding everyone's business, I tell you.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're bending down. Are you sure you aren't going to break a hip?
No, my hips are actually in better shape than your hips.
You want to tell me why that is?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I exercise and you don't.
Who are you calling?
Look me up. Stop.
Who are you calling?
She made a comment on my way, so I went.
It's always a blue-haired teenager. She's definitely calling her liberal mom, so they can exercise their right of calling the police over dumb issues. The charges will include fatphobia and discrimination. I'd like to assume when you play stupid games, receive your stupid prices appropriately. You insulted your teacher and she insulted you. It was age shaking versus fat shaming. You are not a victim, maybe a loser, but not a victim.
Erase that.
Lady, are you crazy? Whoa, lady. Hey, lady, you're crazy.
Erase
lady. Lady. Can move. No, you can't hit me. Yeah, call them. You hit me. I got you on camera hitting me. hit me. You hit me in the face. Yeah, here we go. Karen of the day. Karen of the day that decided to hit me because I was filming. Lady, you're not supposed to hit me. I don't know who the you are. You need to get away from me. Lady, get the away from me. Lady, you hit me. Yeah, and I'm going to show the cops when you call them out here how you hit me. I'm allowed to defend myself.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, see, that's liberal garbage. I'm allowed to defend myself. You're attacking me. You're coming up. Yes, you did. I have that here.
I need your phone.
No, lady, you're not allowed to grab me. You're not allowed to grab me. You have no authority to put your hands on me. She hit me. She hit me.
I saw that. I'm calling the police.
I don't know what the hell what's wrong with her.
Okay, this channel does not support violence and harm against any gender. People should be respectful to each other. But if you're gonna throw a punch, you should know how to avoid one, or at least take one like a champ. Lying on the ground like that is not very demure.
Nicki Minaj or Cardi B? You want to pass? You want to pass?
Come on, I'm gonna pass.
You're gonna pass. Okay, you only get one pass now.
See how they easily reduced his experience to nothing? And he is right. If you have value, ladies, you will be valued.
Keep telling men that we can do it without them. That it's something to be upset about if they open a door, if they pull out a chair. That we don't need them in our society. And then we're surprised when they don't want to commit and when they don't want to do the things that they should be encouraged to do. We need masculine men like we need feminine women. And being a feminine woman does not mean taking your clothes off on the internet. I don't know who needs to hear that.
Applause.
Pregnant woman is murdered. Do you think it's just for a judge to charge the criminal with 2 murders, one for the woman and the other for the baby in her womb?
I absolutely do.
Yes.
Definitely.
If the boyfriend of a woman and father of a child doesn't want to raise a baby, does he have the right to kill that baby if the baby's unwanted?
Absolutely not.
No, he don't.
He does not have a right to kill a baby, no.
If someone slips a pregnant woman an abortion pill that causes her to miscarry and she doesn't know it's an abortion pill, do you think that person should be charged?
Yes.
And what do you think they should be charged with?
Murder. First-degree murder.
Murder. So it's homicide in these cases if it's the man that's causing it, but not if the woman that's causing it.
In her case, she knows that she wanted it and she took the pill to do it.
If that person's being killed, do you think it matters to him or her who's doing the killing, or are they being murdered regardless?
They're being murdered regardless. So yeah.
So do you think it's a homicide in both cases?
Whoever the killer is.
The stuttering is so satisfying. Wait, is abortion only murder when a man is involved? Because we all seem to agree now that a human is being housed in the womb, and any intentional harm committed against such a human is criminal and should be prosecuted. Except it's the mother, of course. Then it's the right to bodily autonomy.
Hold on, don't shout at me. You came voluntarily. Did I ask you to come? I'm defending fascism. No, I'm exposing you as a fascist. But see, the problem is, sometimes you get speakers like me who are not scared of people like you. Ultimately, you are afraid of ideas. You think I pose a threat to you? I'm an immigrant. I came to America with nothing. What threat do I pose to you?
You promoted dangerous, violent ideas that killed millions of people.
I propose dangerous, violent ideas to kill people? Who have I killed?
And you look like capitalism.
Do you realize that Hitler's deadly opponent was capitalism, the fascist ideology?
We are all a bunch of people who go about removing people from Earth because of words. Words.
Can you point me to any single country that has restricted freedom of speech that has done better?
I simply ask you for the source.
Okay.
Can you give me the source
Nazi
on that?
Germany, Soviet Russia, Castro, Che Guevara regimes, current UK, Canada, Maoist China. Need I go on?
Absolutely. You said every country.
Every single country that has limited freedom of speech has resulted in a net loss.
Please give me an actual citation to back up your claim.
You would say that Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, Maoist China, Che Guevara, Castro regimes, and I can't go through every single country.
I'm just asking you to give me a scholarly source that says that.
I don't have a scholarly source with me right now saying that Nazi Germany is worse off with speech laws than the United States.
And so what I said
You're just going to take my word for it.
And exactly what I said was there are plenty of examples where it doesn't work. You're absolutely right. I don't disagree
with
that at all.
Can you point me to any example where it has?
Eventually can possibly get to the point where it can work. And we need to keep trying. That doesn't mean because it hasn't worked, we don't give up.
One country that has better net results for human freedom and human rights by restricting speech. What's your source? One.
Does he realize that freedom of speech is also a freedom of expression? He doesn't. He knows nothing.
I personally don't think that this podcast and panel is going to fix shit for society, but hey, to each their own.
They already know what you're going to do. They know that
even if you are only making $200 a month on OnlyFans, that you're going to go back so that you can have your illustrious career in lingerie sales on OnlyFans.
I will.
It's not for you. It's for the hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people who watch this. It's not for you. We know what you're going to do. You're going to be a 304 for the rest of your life. But it's not. We're talking about all the people who see it.
You're rage quitting? Wait, you're rage quitting because...
I'll come back, have an adult conversation, talk some shit back.
Do you want to come back?
You, on a screen, to go ahead and go and call me a 304 on a live, that's so disrespectful.
Yeah, but is it true?
No!
Oh wow, maybe that was a little harsh, but humbling was carried out and the truth was told.
The Bible says honor your mother and your father. Is she honoring her mother and father by pointing to her for... This is what the world taught her. This is what the world... You don't have a... You're a woman. You're a woman. You don't got a... Let me teach you something about anatomy. Men have this. Women have for... Even if you identify as a woman. Oh, there we go. I get that. Look, I know. Here we go. Now you see. You need to get out. You're not a tranny. You're a confused human being. You're a woman, and maybe no one ever told you. God says you're a woman. He said man and female. Man and female. He created them. He didn't create two spirits. You don't have one. If you are a woman and you think that you can have a penis, that's a strong delusion. Let me ask you a question. I was born with a micro. That's a clit. That's not a micro. That's a clit. That's a clip. You were born with boobs and a vagina. You were born with... Yes, you're right. Hey, that's right.
Did you ever envision a world where you have to scream body parts through a gramophone?
You hate women, you understand?
Wait, guys.
You have no respect for women. That's why you're here arguing right now.
You respect
he doesn't.
Andrew. It's Mother's Day. How do you like that? You murdered your kid. Happy Mother's Day, murderer. And the woman next to you, she agrees with me. How does that make you feel? How does that make the entire CCP feel that you're down here getting impregnated, murdering your offspring? How does that make you feel, ladies? That make you feel good?
Knock, knock. Who's there? The bitter truth. The bitter truth. Who? The bitter truth wokies cannot handle.
When black people kill black people, they don't come out and do this crap. The only time they do this crap is when a white person touches them. They're the racists.
You're not here to fight injustice. You're here to cause drama.
I am black. I'm not oppressed. I am free.
That's good for you. That's an individual person. What about a systemic issue?
Where? I am black. I do what I want. You have the skills. This is a country where you have the skills. You want to do what you want. You do it. Stop forcing on people to accept that they're oppressed. They are not. I am not oppressed. I am black. Stop making people accept that they're oppressed. You're forcing a rhetoric into your minds, which is not true. That's my point. Violence is wrong, period. It's not about blacks. Have you seen any white person coming out and saying white life matter? No, violence is wrong.
They literally do all the time. Every time there's a Black Lives Matter protest, a white person.
It's a violence problem. You guys are wasting everybody's...
Imagine fighting against a robbery that took place in a house miles away from yours. The homeowner says they were not robbed, that their home is good, but the vigilante says no. That's what this argument shows.
I'll make 77 cents on the dollar for what men make. So if women don't make less than men?
Actually, if you start looking at the numbers, Rachel, there are lots of reasons for that.
Oh, wait. Well, don't tell me the reasons are. Do women make less than men for doing the same thing?
No, because...
Wow.
Well, for example, men work an average of 44 hours a week. Women work 41 hours a week. Men go into professions like engineering, science, and math that earn more. Women want more flexible
professions. Listen, this is not a math is hard.
No. Yes, it is, actually.
No, right now, women are making 77 cents on the dollar for what men are making.
But that's not true. If so,
let Rachel make her point.
Every greedy businessman in America would hire only women, save 25%, and be hugely profitable. And I love how passionate.
When will this pay gap narrative be laid to rest? She's a reporter, right? Which man in the station does the same job as her but gets paid more? In her words, 33 cents over every dollar that women make.
some point, somebody's truth has to win. Because guess what? Your truth doesn't matter. That's still a truth
You've
claim.
had your truth in this country for the past thousands of decades.
Thousands of decades?
Not thousands. Whatever. My bad. That's a little embarrassing. But like your truth has been the narrative of this country forever.
Has it?
You think
Roe
yes,
versus
the
Wade
white
just
straight
got
male
repealed.
truth-
Abortion was legal in this country for 40 years.
And before the 40 years, what was
And crime dropped
Thankfully illegal in
40%
most
after it
And
went.
on top of that,
Oh wait, hold on. Do you think abortion lowers crime rates?
Crime dropped 40% after abortion became legal.
Why is that the case?
It's called a statistic.
Who has the most abortions in America?
Women.
Black people. Is that so? Are you trying to say the termination of blacks in the womb lower crime? That's a very racist argument.
That is not
okay.
You know,
Actually, I want to see if this statistic is.
I can't hear you. You gotta come on.
Okay, but there's a reason. There has to be.
Like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
I'm with you on everything.
Somebody get her a chair. She needs to take it all in.
Really love your shirt. Where did you travel from to get here today?
I'm from Houston.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you get here? Like what transportation method?
Car.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think that's kind of hypocritical?
No. Why is that?
Cars cause pollution.
Okay. No more questions.
No more questions. The light has been on for a while and no one has been home. Well, looks like she's seeing it all now. But
related to stopping oil to throw soup over a painting in a gallery. How is that related? How is it helping the poorest people in my country?
I understand that right now fossil fuels are subsidised 32 times more than renewables, even though renewables are 9 times cheaper. Would you rather your bills were £3,500 or £400?
I would rather that you and your friends stopped wreaking havoc in the City of London. I'd rather you stop throwing soup over paintings, stop putting orange paint on the windows of Harrods, stop sitting in roads so that my friend couldn't get the treatment that she needed. And I'd rather you went out, worked a bit. Maybe you could do some litter picking on a beach. Maybe you could do something that was practical and helpful. But I don't think being obtrusive and obstructive and lecturing ordinary people when you have no idea what it's like to try and work and make ends meet in the UK. You talk about millions of people. You talk about people who are in poverty. You have no idea what that's like because you live in the rarefied atmosphere of a university at some wokerati place and you think what you're doing is changing the planet. I think what you're doing is pissing people off, and I think you could allocate your energies more effectively by going out and picking up litter on a beach.
this interviewer just did the work her mother should have done ages ago. Anyway, that is Phoebe. One road blockage done by her Just Stop Oil friends had held up an ambulance carrying a woman to the emergency room. This woman ended up passing away because of the delayed medical attention. But Phoebe claims she's trying to help millions of poor people, even though she admitted to not working and that she has never paid a bill in her life.
So my question was about abortion, and I just wanted to know, why exactly do you think a first trimester fetus has moral value?
Okay, so a first trimester fetus has moral value because whether you consider it a potential human life or a full-on human life, it has more value than just a cluster of cells. If left to its natural processes, it will grow into a baby. So the real question is, where do you draw the line? So you're going to draw the line at the heartbeat, because it's very hard to draw the line at the heartbeat. There are people who are adults who are alive because of a pacemaker. They need some sort of outside force generating their heartbeat. Okay, are you going to do it based on brain function? Okay, well, what about people who are in a coma? Should we just kill them? Right? The problem is, anytime you draw any line other than the inception of the child, you end up drawing a false line that can also be applied to people who are adults. So either human life has intrinsic value or it doesn't. I think we both agree that adult human life has intrinsic value. Can we start from that premise?
I believe that sentience is what gives something moral value, not necessarily being a human alone.
Okay, because when you're asleep, can I stab you?
I'm still considered sentient when I'm asleep.
Okay, if you are in a coma from which you may awake, can I stab you?
Well then, no. I guess not. I mean,
I'm glad you answered that, because I have no interest in actually murdering you.
But that's still potential sentience, and it's still a potential.
I agree. It is potential sentience. You know what else is potential sentience? Being a fetus.
Doesn't matter how much you twist it, the truth will always prevail. Okay, let's wrap this up. You've been through enough today. In case you didn't like the video in the beginning, what are you waiting for? Get on that now. How would you have humbled some of these wokies? Let us know in the comments. You don't want to be a wokie, do you? You need to subscribe else. See you in the next video.